Hola, Mami. Today's episode is part of the Mes de la Mujer mini-series, where we explore women, autonomy, identity, leadership, health, and of course, relationships. Because modern womanhood is not just about career or motherhood, it's also about choice, about agency, about how we define love on our own terms. Today, I'm joined by Eva Almer, writer, marketing specialist, educator, and author of Non-Monogamy Storybook. Welcome, Eva. Thank you so much for coming.
Hi.
Hi. So this is a very interesting topic, at least for me, because it's something that I've never even thought about. I've never researched. And when you reached out to me to be on the mini-series for El Mes de la Mujer, I thought it was perfect because I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one. And it's pretty impressive, all the stories that you were able to gather and to write this book so fast. So, okay, let's start from the beginning. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what brought you here and what made you or inspired you to write this book.
Okay. So this always not easy to tell about yourself, yeah, because we are all interesting people, yeah, and we have different parts of our lives. So in my everyday life, I'm a woman, I'm a mother, I'm a partner, and I'm also a mother. I have a kid, and I do marketing for our family business. Yeah, with the sailing trip. So my everyday life is full of tasks, marketing strategies, etc., etc., etc. But also I have my artistic, let's say, part of my life, which inspires me, motivates me, and maybe that's exactly what give me energy for all the troubles we have in business. It's not always easy, and for everyday life. I'm a writer. I've been into text 15 years or more. For most of my life, I've been a copywriter. I had a marketing studio. I had a copywriting academy, and I help over 6,000 people to learn how to express themselves or tell about their businesses. Mostly that was about businesses.
A storyteller at heart. And
Yeah. Actually, I started as a storyteller because my main is journalism. But then I just got to know that because I am from Ukraine, just got to know that in Ukraine, in journalism, you're not getting so much money. So when politicians started to reach me out, I was like, oh, okay, well, I don't want to lie because a lot of politicians ask me to lie. So maybe I can also write for money, but for businesses. Yeah. My life been changing. I got a baby and the war in Ukraine started. So I've gotten a lot of transformation. And I wanted to continue to write. It was not actual for me to continue doing copywriting things, especially in the times of AI. So I just realized that, hello, Eva, you are a writer because I like to write. Every time I have very emotional story in my life, even it's like one evening, 1 week, one meeting, I open my notebook and I just writing all the details.
like a journal.
Like a journal, yeah, but I want to remember this, and I build it like a story because this is a story, yeah, so I don't add up any things additionally, yeah, so I don't create, I just read it out. So, yeah. And also I have very interesting lifestyle with my partner, with my love and sexual life. We're in open relationships. Actually, we like to say that it's ethical non-monogamy. Because open relationship can be not ethical. There is a distinction. Yes. So yeah, and just these two things, my love to exploration of non-monogamy and my lifestyle and my desire to write things, they just gathered, they just met, and
Very naturally.
super naturally. Yeah, it was not like I want to be a writer. What topic should I choose? Yeah, it was like clicked. A few times I got, these signs, ideas that I have to write this particular book. I was like, oh no, maybe my English is not that perfect because previously I wrote 2 books in Ukrainian. It was how-to books. Like it was 500 pages about copywriting.
Oh, wow.
And now I'm like, wow, how will I write? Blah, blah. So yeah. I also went through some stages before I decided, okay, I'm gonna do this.
And you wrote this book In English.
Yes, yes. Because I wanted to show these amazing stories to a lot of people.
So you mentioned this book isn't like an autobiography or anything like that. It's 12 stories, you said, of different couples that are just, it's not like you went and interviewed people. It just naturally happened. Can you tell us a little bit about that? And then why it's important, especially right now in the Mes de la Mujer, well, the Dia de la Mujer, although it should be more than just a day, that we share these stories? Like, why do you think it's something that, like, now, why now talk about it? Or specifically for you and then in general?
Okay. So first of all, I'm here to inspire other women to be themselves, because this non-monogamous nature, my non-monogamous nature, was from very beginning. Even when I started to analyze my life, I realized that I had this interest in even in school. So yeah, I just want to motivate women to release all these internal real desires, not what society expects from them. Like, your relationship has to be only like that. If you are not like that, you're something wrong with you. No, I want to all women who are interested in modern non-traditional relationship to be sure that they are okay, that if they want it, they are okay with it.
So it's okay.
Yeah. So for the book, what was the question about the book?
Why share it now? Because it was a journey for you, right?
Yeah, it was a journey. Yeah. And so it all started when we started to open up with my husband. We had a lot of questions, all these direct, uncomfortable to ask questions about this lifestyle. Yeah, how you do this, how you find other couples or something like that. And we had no one to ask. We had no one, and we tried by ourselves. We explored, we made our mistakes, we learned from that, from our experience. But then over time, we started to build our circle, and it turned out that our close friends, they were open for 20 years.
Oh, wow.
And we didn't know.
You had no idea.
We had no idea, because they look like a vanilla family. Because they have kids, they're super happy. There is very popular myth that if you're going to open up, if you open up your relationship, it means that something wrong was before. Mm-hmm. That's totally not correct. Yeah, and for me, I think that trying to save your marriage and relationship in the way of opening up, that's the worst idea that I've can.
The opposite part.
Yeah. So I just started to build my story. Well, it was built by itself. Yeah, just broadening my connections with people. And one day I realized, okay, so now I have people to ask questions, because we will like to talk. Like, me and my husband, with everyone we meet from our lifestyle, we always blah, 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 because that's really curious. How was that for you? How did you start? I naturally interviewed them, because I was curious. And then I was like, okay, but now we can meet separately, and I'll gather all these stories and write a book.
Oh.
So now I just wanted to make this, entering into this lifestyle and living this lifestyle easier for people, because there are a lot of how-to books, books that from psychotherapists, therapists, with explanation how to do, what is wrong with what not with, what to do with jealousy. But in this book, there are very little examples, and they're very cut out. Yeah.
Cookie cutter. So you're giving real life stories.
Yeah. So you can see the path of the couple, and there are 12 stories of couples and solo. I have also the stories of solo polyamorous people, a very interesting way of living. Yeah. So you can see of course, it's not the whole story, but I asked pretty similar questions to all the people, and all the questions were built because of my research. So as a marketing specialist, I have to do everything correctly. So I did my personal research on what people Google, what their interested, like, what is the real demand on this topic?
Oh, curious. So what do people Google? Like, this real world. Like,
And I created the list of the questions based on real people. Yeah, and now I think it's super important to talk about it because March is a very feminine month, and I think that we have to speak up. We have to speak up about our desires and not to be ashamed, not to be ashamed to offer something to our husband we've been like for 20 years, It's never too late to spice up your marriage, so I think that we have to be very connected with ourselves and not to be afraid of even wanting it.
so Mel, earlier you mentioned that a lot of the people's or the stories, probably not from the book you wrote, but that they could enter it in kind of like in a panic, like trying to save their marriage. And then you said that that's not a good idea. Can you explain why, based on the book and the stories that you've heard?
Yeah, first of all, I see it from other couples. So everyone who wanted to save their marriage, they failed. So I think that the problem is when you have a problem in your marriage, you have to solve this specific problem. Because if you're not secure, if you don't have a really good base in your relationship, bringing other people to your relationship is a very bad idea. Because, you have to be like this with your husband.
It's like when you have children to fix a marriage, right? Oh, let's just have another kid.
No. Yeah, that's very good advice.
That's how I see it. It's like, no, don't have more kids. Like,
you have to be very aligned with each other. With your partner. You have to love each other. You have to love. You have to be present. To have trust, respect. But when you have these cows and you're like, okay, let's go and have
another baby, another couple,
it can bring more problem because the more people you interact with, you bring into your relationship, the more like you're bringing, let's say, problems. If you have problems, problems, they are magnified.
Before you mentioned something about jealousy, like how did you personally go through that? And then also in the stories that you tell in your book, how is that navigated? Because you mentioned that a lot, like that's kind of like a main theme that I read.
That's the main thing, and that's like a very big section in each story about jealousy. But I was shocked because some couples, their section about jealousy like that, because jealousy, they said, we're not into jealousy. I was like, are you real? But I knew that people, and I was like, okay, you look like you don't have jealousy.
Is it cultural, do you think? Like, were they all culturally and from the same?
They are super different.
Oh, is it different?
I think that's because of background and maybe because of childhood, or all this building security base, self-confidence, and because one of the guys from the story, actually, he told his approach. So he told me that he thought, he still thinks, I'm sure, that mostly jealousy goes from personal insecurities. Because I personally think that if I'm jealous, that I'm afraid of losing this person. That's my personal case. Because for me, jealousy was really, really big things at the beginning, even before opening up, obviously. And I was jealous. And I think in my case, it was because all the previous relationships I had was, first of all, they failed. Like I had 6 serious relationships, and I moved in, and I was engaged, and then he cheated on me, and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And I was not insecure in terms of the base of relationships, and I was afraid. So, and when I met my husband, I was like, oh my God, this is real.
You can believe it.
I can be in this type of relationship really magical. Like we never had arguments. We have active discussion, but we never have arguments. We never say bad words about ourselves. Okay, I never. So I never say anything bad about my exes, but it was all. I was afraid of. Okay, I finally got him. He was still
You want to lose him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's the man of my dream. He's like, every day he's still the fan of my dream and the best man. And I was like, what if I lose him?
Right. Fear unlocked.
Yeah. And of course, yeah, at that time, when we just started to date with my husband, that was the active phase of my psychotherapy course. So I was in a time of transformations. And so all this, so he is the man of freedom. And I am a woman of freedom, but he is more. And all his freedom actions triggered me. So it uncovered some really good stuff in me. Yeah. So I just understood that I lack self-confidence. I'm not secure. Like, you know, if we are together, for example, when we got a baby, of course, that's very sensitive time. Sometimes I still had this explosions of jealousy because I was, okay, I'm not working now. I'm with a baby and we are in, at that time we were calling our relationship slightly opened. So we had different agreements. Yeah. I was like, I'm in slightly open relation, but still it's open. So what if he will go to another woman?
So your mind still,
yeah. My mind started to build all these things.
lack of sleep, you throw all of that in there. So how did you manage all of that? And also, what do you mean? You had like rules, like you sat down and wrote down rules, like a contract? Or?
Yeah, we still have it. So yeah, I think it's crucial for any kind of relationships to agree on what is okay, what is not okay. Because even for monogamous relationship, for someone, kissing someone can be okay, for another one can be not okay. Because let's say cultural differences.
Right.
If she's Brazilian and he is, I don't know, Polish guy. For Polish guy, his girlfriend, if his girlfriend will kiss another guy, it's like, oh my God, what? We have to break up. And she's like, I just met this guy on the street, you know,
it's normal.
I have Brazilian friends and they told me that in their culture, kiss means nothing.
Like on the cheeks?
Lips. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's crucial to agree on these mutual rules and the boundaries. Yeah. What is okay for you? Yeah, it's not like rules, but that's your agreement, yeah, in your
in any relationship, that's true, but it's something that you don't really think about. So what made you sit down and say, okay, we need to sit down and set boundaries, like literally write them down?
Yeah. I like adore this phrase of one of the guys from the interview from the book. Like, you don't think about the rules until you bump into them.
So you break them?
Yeah, and because, you know, if you don't have rules, you don't
break them. Yeah, I didn't know.
That's obvious. Yeah. So yeah, and we also started to think about this agreement. Actually, yeah, we really bumped into some situation that triggered me. And I was like, I remember I was in Lisbon, I was on a girls' trip, and I escaped from the girls' party to our Airbnb. Blind-eyed and crying like, no, maybe we have to break up. No, I don't want to break up. And I was so jealous. And maybe it was not about jealousy. Maybe it was because we didn't have this really clear agreement. And then I told him, okay, I am coming back. We even set up an event on Google Calendar. Agreement, right?
The meaning of
because after making our baby sleep, on the couch, hugging, kissing, and talking about that was really, really powerful. Yeah, so that's why we have less reasons to have jealousy. And I think, like, for me, my husband, I think he never was jealous. He told me that he was like, irritated or triggered, but not like jealous. For him, it was like sparkle.
Right. And well, before you mentioned that to you, jealousy was when you were afraid of losing him. So if you're no longer jealous, is it because you're no longer afraid of losing him because you're so secure in the relationship, or because, like they say, you're the like, what's the difference?
Yeah, I think what helped me with this jealousy things, of course, I worked with my psychotherapist, but my main insight came later. And I think just over time, I built two things. First of all, that's self-confidence, because so I cannot say that I am in like active mom's era because I'm working mom. Yes. So my baby goes to the kindergarten and he has babysitters. So I obviously spend time with him, but compared to the first year of his life, like,
100%,
yeah, crazy. So yeah, I started to work because I'm very career oriented, creative. Yeah, I need I need to do something. So when I started to work, so I joined my husband into his company. We've been doing sailing trips for 8 years, and I joined like 4 years ago, but actively only 1.5 years ago. And when I started to do things, I build a sales department, I build my team, and I started to see my results. And when I went sailing, and people from ads, can you imagine people from advertising came to me, and I said this advertising, like I created the banners, said, "Thank you, Eva. This is the amazing trip. I'm so happy that I saw this advertising." I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so happy." So I build my confidence that I won't be in a bad place, even if it can happen. Yeah, I don't want it, of course. Yeah. If I will be alone with the kid, I will survive. I will survive because I have skills. So that's really more about self-confidence. So I got the results. I appreciated them, and I accepted that I'm capable. Because if you lack self-confidence, you underestimate yourself. You always like, oh no, I always underestimated myself in the past. I was like, people they told me, "Oh, Emma, you're such a great, wow, you did this, wow, you have a lot of students." I was like, no, that's not about that. No, 600 people on the webinar. No, that girl did 1,200.
You're always comparing yourself to.
That was exhausting. Yeah. And when I released all this shit, I started to feel more confident. So why I should be afraid of another woman that can take my husband? That's really a strange situation that someone can take rob my husband. Yeah. And of course, over time, I saw how my husband behaved, that I'm important for him, that he really loves me, and he cares about me, and he cares about our child. So he's really the best man for me, and he's a man in action. So during this 6 year, I had nothing to
Prove otherwise.
yeah, to think that he could love, or he can go to and meet someone. We're both like I don't know. I don't know. You're the best person in this world. I don't know if I can find better person.
So then why open up the relationship? If you guys are meant for each other, you realize that he's like the best husband. He sees you as like the best. Like I'm just curious. Like, so then why open?
Yeah. A few days ago, my husband asked me, like, "It's been 6 years together, and I still want you." Like, like, come to me, yeah. And we still really have passion, and we always talk about it. Yeah, we discuss this topic, like, how is it possible? And maybe because we are open, maybe because we have other connections, maybe because we have, for people it's important the sense of novelty. For maybe some kind of people, yeah, because some people like stability and like repeating recurring
Routine.
events. Yeah, routine. That's not about that. Yeah, like something new, to feel something new. When I come back, like last week, I had the first time when I came back from the date and my husband was at home. Yeah, so I opened the door and he was there. Explanation, yeah, because he's sailing a lot. So yeah, like 1 week he's at home, then 2 weeks away. Yeah. So it just happened during these years that all my dates that was not planned. That just happened. Yeah, and I was like, I was just behind the door, yeah, ready to open the door. I was like, oh my God, he's there. And I was still in this, feeling, when you're in love with someone, all these first days of dating, you're inspired, you feel like, oh my God, I'm on clouds, this feeling.
The butterflies.
The butterflies, yeah. And isn't it bad that you can have this feeling the last time with your husband. Yeah. If you're gonna live like until the end of your life with one person, it means that in this particular relationship, you had the last first kiss, the last first sex, the last first touch, because first touch never can be repeated, you know? I love touching my husband. I love having everything with him, yeah? But all these feelings of novelty, new person, everyone has their approaches. Everyone touches differently, yeah? So I'm just curious. I'm really curious about how it can be with someone, yeah? So yeah, for now we are not into polyamory, so we're not building a stable relationship with others. So we are dating other people, but we don't build like triangle, quadruple, yeah? So it's like quite hierarchical. So we are the base, our couple, but it doesn't mean that other people, they are like dull and they less important. The connection we build with them, we try not to build it like more to the moment we say like I love you. I know this is a very sensitive topic because you cannot control your feelings, but you cannot control the amount of time you spend with people because life is a choice, life is an action, so you can have feelings, but if you start to feel that these feelings, they can like not ruin but affect your marriage, maybe for now we think that it's not for us.
So what are the common questions? Like, do you ever come, like when you meet new people, like do you just say like my name is,
non-monogamous girl.
Like how does this come about? Like do you, or what are the rules, I guess? Or how does it work?
Yeah, so that's a cool question. Yeah, so for now, I prefer to meet people in our lifestyle. So I don't have Tinder, I don't have like normal dating apps when you can probably meet monogamous people, or like one night stand occasions. I'm not into this and this, no, that's not for me. So I'm more into having more stable partners I see from time to time. Someone I see once in 2 months, in 2 weeks. Like, it's not like very, very, because I have a lot of things in my life and schedule is...
and then you and your husband, like, do you guys share stories? Like, do you talk about like your experience?
Yes.
Is that a thing?
Every time. So first of all, before going on a date, we always ask, like, I'm telling him, writing him, like, Sergey, I'm going on a date with this guy. Are you okay now with this? Like, I'm not asking in general, are you okay? Because previously he said that he is okay. So because we have different stages of life, we're always asking, are you okay if I'm going? And after that, when we came back, we were like, do you want to listen to this story? What do you want to know? What kind of details? Like, and last times, like last 3 times, my husband, I want to know all the details. I'm like, do you want like to know all the details? Like, should I explain you all the technical step? Not into super details. I just decide what is the most important for him to know. So if someone touched my shoulder, of course. So when I meet someone and we have kind of connection, because when I meet someone separately without my kid, without my husband, for most people, I look like a single young woman. But then I prepared a surprise for you. So just because mostly it's people from our lifestyle, it's easier to communicate. They already know. And me and my husband, we are into Tantra. You know what is Tantra?
Slightly read about it, but go ahead and
that's like spiritual practice. There are a lot of different tantras and approaches, but overall it's also like a lifestyle. The spiritual practice of connecting with yourself and using your sexual energy. And as I said, there are a lot of different. So if you guys Google Tantra, be aware that you can see very strange things. What is Tantra? Not. So we go to different Tantra events. Here in Malaga, we have our friend Anya. He's a Tantra teacher and she does very nice events. And this magnify the people. So all the good people, more open people, they go to these events. Yeah. So I meet some of my partners on the tantra. Yeah. And when I see that there is a spark, because during the workshop, you feel, because of the exercise, because you have touch exercise, like gaze, and you already feel the connection with the person. So it's already clear you like this person or not. Yeah. And then when we like talk, exchange our numbers, I always tell first, like, look, yes, I'm free to have a coffee with you, to know more about you, but I have to tell that I'm married. I'm in open, ethical, non-monogamous relationship. I have a kid. If at this point you're okay with that and you want to explore this topic, or you're curious, let's go further. Yeah. Because if so I have a rule for myself not to date people, guys, mostly guys, if they're single and not curious about non-monogamous relationship. I don't date them. It's my red flag. So I want people to be interested in non-monogamy, because it means that they can understand me
and they'll respect your boundaries.
Yes, and they won't ask me to leave my husband, because in one story, if you read the book, there is a story, when the woman were dating the guy for 1 year or so, and the guy, like, the whole time he was expecting her to leave her husband, and he told her, like, if you're here with me, it means that you don't love your husband.
Okay.
But that's logical, but that's not true, because all the people in this lifestyle, they have different reasons why they're doing that. Yeah, of course, there can be situation like when the woman cannot get some things, for example, sexual life with her husband, and it's okay, and her husband allows her to explore her fantasies. Like, okay, but for me, it's more harmonious and ecological when both in couple explore these things.
Okay.
Because also in my book, one guy had this experience when his ex-wife, she told him, like, yeah, honey, you're interested, you want to explore this, okay, go and do this. And for her it was okay, and for him at the beginning he started to date couples, and then he said, like, well, I don't feel comfortable, it's not harmonical, like, I'm out and I'm exploring, but I even cannot talk with my wife about this. I cannot share this experience just because she's not interested in this topic. Like, she can listen to it, she can understand, she can say, okay, I'm happy that you're, but that's not harmonious.
Okay. So it sounds like they ended up divorcing, right?
Yes.
So earlier we talked a little bit about this topic, particularly you were talking about the divorce rates and how, because we were talking about how it's lately you've been seeing an increase of couples having these type of relationships. So I had asked you, like, well, what do you think it is? And then we were talking a little bit about divorce rates and how sometimes, because in relationships, especially women, don't feel like that they can be free or open or have a change of heart or change their mind. So do you want to talk a little bit about your research? Because I know you did a lot of research before you actually wrote your book, even though you already had lots of interesting stories, really. So can you talk a little bit about the research and then how it ties down and you saw the connections when you wrote the book?
You know what was the last let's say triggering situation when I decided that, okay, I have to write this book? I saw 2 advertisements from huge American media, including Times, advertising. They were promoting their article about polyamory. Like, the Times was like, okay, if the Times started to promote their article. So as I'm a marketing specialist, I know that business and media will never advertise something that they didn't check that it's working. Yes, so they checked it worked in their organic audience, and they decided to promote it. So for me, it was a signal. So I started to do research. And I saw very nice statistics for me, nice because of
For your
me,
book. Yeah.
yeah, that people started to question. They started to question traditional relationship. They started to Google, and I started to not find like these recommendations on this,
Yes.
and they started
The algorithm.
the algorithm like a lot of reels pages about polyamory, about non-monogamy, like the separate pages, and people were talking about it like freely, openly. Lots of comments, lots of reshares, lots of likes. I was like, okay, and wow.
Okay, so we're getting close to the end of the podcast, and it's such an interesting topic, especially because, well, at least for me, it's a new topic, and now that I think about it, like, oh yeah, I saw a TV show, and there was like a couple that had like these rules, and they wrote it down. It kind of reminded me of what you talked about, and then that yummy book that's just recently published that we can go and read, and they're real stories that we can like, not like a how-to guide book, like you said, like they're actual stories. So I really like that, and in general. And then, so I'm thinking about the ladies, the mamis that are watching, or just the women that are watching the podcast or listening to it. What can you suggest? Like, what 3 tips would you give them if some of them maybe are feeling lost, unseen, or like maybe an emptiness, or like was there a feeling that you felt before like you decided, or any just suggestion, because we talked about self-esteem and being sure about yourself. So maybe if you can give 3 tips. We always give like 3, something that's useful and like put in practice. So like,
So first of all, I think build your securities and to build your base, so you will think and will be sure that you're capable of surviving in any possible cases that you can
like on your own, not depend on anyone.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a huge topic of about dependence. But yeah, to feel your feet,
That stand your ground, that you know who you are and you're confident in who you are. Okay,
Yeah.
I love that.
The second one is to speak up. And I'm not telling, I'm sure that some non-monogamous people will also watch this interview, because you never know who is open, who is not. I'm not telling to go and tell your mom. My mom doesn't know. And actually, this interview is my coming out, sort of.
So honored.
Yeah.
For sure.
Like, I share this topic in your book. And my book only with my close friends, it's like 20 people on Instagram, So the people I can trust. I'm sure that they won't judge me, because I met quite, not a lot, but quite some judgment,
From your actual circle, from people you knew, or just new people that
Yeah. When I was like, so once I had a situation when I asked my friend to get my book, because I needed to get more pre-sales. So on the launch date, Amazon will show
the pre-sales.
And I was thinking about all the kind of people I have in my circle, and I told that I'm a woman. And then I came to her house, and her friend came. And my friend started to ask about the book, and I started to tell. And her friend, I knew her before, and she was like, "Oh, you're open? Oh, you looked so happy, family." And I was like, "Okay, I will never be back at this house."
Oh.
Yeah, that was the 1st of January, and I was like, "Okay, nice cleaning for the year." Yeah, so I'm not of course I'm not advertising on monogamous relationship, and I'm not advertising opening up and go and tell your mom, but speak up at least to yourself that yes, I want it, because for a long time I had different situations when I had to suppress this inside because my current partner was like strictly against it, and I was okay.
So you have tried before with other partners, and
No, I tried to like I saw situations and I discussed this topic with but then they weren't
receptive.
Yeah, so I didn't. So yeah, and if you are with your partner, try to start this topic. It's nothing bad if the woman can speak up about this topic, because like you told me before, Maybe more men are interested.
I thought, honestly, I would assume that men are the ones that bring it up, but then you mentioned that it's women too.
Yeah, it's women. I think half and half because, there is even a very, very old book, like it was published in 70s, Secret Garden. That's the book. So women were writing secret letters to the publisher or the journalist. And this lady, this writer, she published this book like full of these anonymous stories about fantasies of the woman. And I can tell you, they're pretty crazy.
In the 70s.
Yeah.
Because they were restricted and were not allowed to
So it means that women want.
Mm.
Women want. And
amazing. That's in the 70s, right? Now we're in 2026, and I feel like we haven't really evolved as much as one would think. I mean, yeah, there's lots of people feel a lot more freer to be themselves, but there's still a lot of that like social
we're moving very, very fast into automations, all this very tech stuff. But we are so slow in reorganizing relationship segment and education segment because educational system is super slow. So we are still, we have AI and robots, etc., but we still think of relationships and education in terms of structures of the previous century.
Look in your story and opening up to us and like sharing with us. I'm really you're blushing. But thank you for your time and for being part of this mini series of El Mes de la Mujer, Women's Month. And it should be actually El Día de la Mujer. In Europe, it's just the day, and we're trying to push for the whole month. And it should be every day. Like, we should honor ourselves as women, as the multifaceted people that we are, and all the different desires shouldn't be shamed for, you know? So thank you for being so open and honest and bringing about a topic that honestly, it wouldn't even have come to my mind to like seek out for someone, you know? So thank you. And your book, what is the book called again?
Non-Monogamy Storybook.
And that can be found on Amazon?
On Amazon, yeah, everywhere. Just,
okay.
Amazon, not Google. Google it on Amazon.
Just Amazon. Okay. Well, either will have like the name of the book and then the link of where they buy it. So the best of luck to you, and then I hope to see a second book probably soon.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
And Mami, thank you so much for being a part of this mini series, and we'll see you at the regular podcast. Yeah, Mami Life.